Can you picture a summer without smartphones or video games? That's what kids in the 80s had to work with. Instead, they filled their days with spontaneous bike rides, homemade slip and slides, mixtapes, and catching fireflies. It was a time of pure, unplugged fun. Want to know how they did it and why those summers were so memorable? Let's jump into summer in the 1980s and explore the magic of that unforgettable decade. If you love reminiscing about the good old days, hit that subscribe button and share your favorite summer memories from the 80s in the comments below. Outdoor adventures and spontaneous fun. In the 80s, summer days were all about being outside. Forget about being glued to screens. Back then, the outdoors was our playground. Kids would hop on their bikes, often without helmets, and ride over to a friend's house without a second thought. No need for scheduled playdates or texting ahead. You'd simply show up, ring the doorbell, and see if they were home. This spontaneous way of connecting often led to all-day adventures, be it climbing fences to access school playgrounds or even wandering in the nearby woods. Playgrounds, often built with solid steel equipment, were the stage for daring feats. Spinning furiously on merry-go-rounds until you flew off, tackling monkey bars that seemed to reach the sky, or sliding down scorching hot metal slides. These were the thrills of childhood. One of the quintessential summer activities was creating a homemade slip and slide. With just a tarp, some dish soap, and a garden hose, kids would slide away the hot summer days. It was simple, it was fun, and it was a little bit dangerous, just the way we liked it. And when thirst struck, there was no reaching for bottled water. Instead, a drink from the garden hose was the norm, even if it meant a bit of practice to master the art. Drinking from the hose was a rite of passage, and it had a taste that somehow made the water even more refreshing. Lunch breaks and snack time. After a morning of play, hunger would inevitably set in. Lunch was often a simple affair. Think bologna sandwiches on Wonder Bread, plus a bag of potato chips. These meals, although basic, were a cherished part of the day, especially when shared with friends. Sometimes the day would also include a trip to the local fishing hole or an attempt to build a makeshift bike ramp, adding more layers to the day's adventure. Afternoons were spent riding bikes to the local convenience store to buy candy or baseball cards. We'd pool our pocket change to get treats, savoring every piece of penny candy or chewing on that hard gum from a pack of baseball cards. Evening delights and nighttime magic. As the sun set and the streetlights flickered on, kids knew it was time to head home. But the fun didn't end there. Evenings were perfect for catching fireflies, or for the more daring, feeding them to frogs to see them glow from the inside. Sleepovers were another highlight, filled with late-night movies or storytelling sessions that often ended in laughter or spooked silence. Building a makeshift fort in the backyard or setting up a tent to camp out under the stars was another beloved activity. Ghost stories and the sounds of crickets and owls created an atmosphere of adventure right in your own backyard. Sometimes we'd release a jar full of lightning bugs in our room, letting their gentle glow be our nightlight. Creative play and DIY fun. The 80s were a time of creative play. If a store-bought slip and slide wasn't available, a simple tarp and soap concoction provided hours of entertainment. Breakdancing was another fad, with kids practicing their moves on pieces of cardboard laid out in driveways. The moonwalk, made famous by Michael Jackson, became a must-master dance move. For the more artistic, puffy paint and bedazzling were all the rage. Girls would decorate their jean jackets with colorful designs, while boys might sew or pin patches of their favorite bands onto their clothes. And the best part was making mixtapes. Oh, how could we forget all those hours spent trying to capture our favorite songs off the radio without the DJ talking over the intro? Pop culture, a summer staple. Summer in the 1980s wasn't complete without a dose of pop culture. Saturday mornings were a sacred time for cartoons, with shows like He-Man, the Care Bears, and the Smurfs keeping kids glued to the TV, cereal bowls in hand. Sugary cereals like Captain Crunch, Fruity Pebbles, and Cocoa Puffs were the breakfast of choice, adding a sweet start to the day. For those lucky enough to have a Nintendo Entertainment System, games like Super Mario Bros., The Legend of Zelda, and Metroid provided endless entertainment. And if the game didn't load, a quick blow into the cartridge often did the trick. Earning and spending, the summer job. For many kids, summer was also a time to earn a little extra cash. Whether it was mowing lawns, washing cars, or babysitting, kids found ways to make money. This extra cash often went toward arcade games, another staple of 80s culture. All those hours spent playing Pac-Man, Space Invaders, and Donkey Kong. Boy, were those good times! And of course, our Friday nights were often reserved for trips to the video store. Stepping into Blockbuster and seeing the endless rows of movies was a true thrill. We'd spend ages picking out the perfect stack of VHS tapes for the weekend, and sometimes we'd even snag some popcorn or candy to go with our movie marathon. Family time and memorable vacations. Besides this, summers also included trips to see your grandparents. Grandma's apple pie and Grandpa's amazing childhood stories always had us coming back for more. These visits also came with a side of soap operas, introducing kids to a different kind of drama. Summertime was also a time for family vacations. Whether it was a road trip to a national park or a visit to a historical site, these trips were filled with excitement and a bit of sibling rivalry. Eating sandwiches out of the back of the station wagon at rest stops was a regular thing. And, of course, we always had to stop at some piece of Americana history, which usually got an eye roll from all the kids. The bittersweet end of summer. Before we knew it, summer was winding down. The looming return to school was softened by the excitement of back-to-school shopping. Getting new clothes, shoes, and supplies made the transition a bit easier. We couldn't wait to show off our new outfits and the latest Trapper Keeper designs to our friends. Despite the anticipation of a new school year, we'd find ourselves daydreaming about the next summer, planning new adventures and remembering the fun we'd had. The 1980s were a unique and vibrant decade, filled with experiences that many look back on with fondness. From the thrill of outdoor play to the joys of pop culture, summer in the 80s had a magic that is hard to replicate today. Whether you were catching fireflies, crafting mixtapes, or mastering video games, these moments left an indelible mark on those who lived them.